Hi, the Space Age Penguin again. So, this is interesting. I've been talking a lot about different things that I love. I've talked about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've talked somewhat about Star Wars. Probably for the best I don't talk too much about Star Wars, because, boy, I have some differing opinions than others online. Let's see. I've also talked about some cartoons. And I typically love cartoons a lot. I've talked about DC a lot. I've done unboxing. There's a reason why I'm going through this reflection, and I'll get to it at the end. But in the meantime, though, I'm going to go ahead and say there is one thing that I absolutely love I have not talked about yet. That is Doctor Who. Now, interestingly enough, Doctor Who and I go back probably, nearly 13 years now. Technically, I started watching it back in 2011, just with some classic episodes, some random classic episodes. Some of the old black and white ones, some of the original 70s ones. So before I move forward with going through some history here, I did want to say, so for those of you who aren't aware, Doctor Who is separated into two soon-to-be free groups. You've got the classic era, that's the first all the way for the Seventh Doctors. That went from 1963 through 1989. There was a movie that came out in 1996. Slipped up there for a moment. Got a little too ahead of myself. And then that was kind of it for Doctor Who for a long time. It got canceled in 1989 and wasn't fully successfully revived until we get to era number 2, the modern era. Now, this is the one I want to talk about the most because this is the one I have seen every episode from the modern era up until this upcoming. Oh, nice. Looks like I got another follower. That's awesome. But basically, I have seen every modern Doctor Who episode up until this upcoming one, which is called The Giggle, which will be the last episode, technically, of a modern era, but it's not the end of Doctor Who yet. So, unlike when the classic era ended, there was a long time period. There was a long gap between 1996 and 2005, which is when the modern era came back. Even longer if you include the years in between the classic era, which ended in 1989, and the movie. The reason why I said 1996 specifically. So, interestingly enough, the third era, which is going to begin really pretty much immediately. Oh, hello here. So, Double Meats Company says, what's your opinion of the new trailer of Doctor Who? Okay, so I'm curious, when you're talking about trailer, are you meaning for the upcoming episode or the 60th anthology in general? Because if you're talking about the episode, I have seen it, the trailer. I've seen the trailer. It looks interesting. It looks interesting for sure. But if you're talking about the 60th anthology in general, then what the best thing to do is to see my reaction in a previous, the 60th in general. So I actually did do a reaction to that one a few weeks ago. That was part of my trailers live stream. You can check it out on YouTube. It is under the Space Age Penguin Studios. That's my YouTube channel. And I will actually be bringing that up afterwards, after this Doctor Who conversation, because we've got a lot to cover. So I'm going to be ranking all of the modern Doctor Who seasons, plus all the anniversary, or not anniversary, but some of them are anniversary, plus all of specials, the holiday specials, the 50th anniversary special. So interestingly enough, so the 60th, I will go and quickly say the 60th anniversary, all the specials we've been getting recently, because they're releasing weekly instead of seasonally, I will be combining those into one sort of mini season. It's an anthology series to me. It's an anthology series because these are specials that interconnect. Now, there are 2 other years in the modern era where there were collections of specials, but these specials were standalone, more or less. Now, anyways, back with that. So, first off, so to explain a bit about the modern era, you've got 3 showrunners. You have got Russell T Davies, who wanted to revive Doctor Who way back in 2004. Actually, probably a little earlier. He successfully was able to bring Doctor Who back into mass success with media back in 2005. He ran the show from 2005 all the way to 2010, at least New Year's Day 2010. And then he passed the torch off to Stephen Moffat, who holds the longest running showrunner out of a modern era, out of the 3 showrunners. Although Russell T Davies does hold another interesting fact, which we'll get to later, just a bit later. So Stephen Moffat era lasted from 2010 all the way to 2017. 8 years, or wait, I think 7, anyways, doesn't matter. Either way, he spent a long time as a showrunner to Doctor Who and oversaw seasons 5 through 10, as well as a lot of special holiday specials. Then, wow. Gorilla Joe is 71 is saying it's like this. 3 areas. Good, bad, ugly. Strangely enough, there's... I don't know. I personally have a soft spot for most of the Stephen Moffat era, but I can agree he's made a lot of mistakes. However, that's nothing. That is absolutely nothing, and Gorilla Joe 71 did point that out with ugly part. So, 2018 is when the most, well, I was about to say divisive, but really it's more destructive era to Doctor Who came upon us in the form of Chris Chibnall. What Chris Chibnall wanted to do, so here's some of the ideals that they had. Here's some of the ideas that they're going with. Russell T Davies wanted Doctor Who to return. He wanted to see Doctor Who back on mainstream media. All 3 of them loved the classic era, but they had different perspectives, different takes. Stephen Moffat wanted to follow up Russell T Davies, wanted to ride along that, as well as give some interesting new stories. And then you get Chris Chibnall. So first off, let me just say, so Stephen Moffat, just real quick here, side note, Stephen Moffat also, something that he also loved to do is he loved to overcomplicate things a bit. He wanted to tie both eras together. He wanted to tie both the previous era that came before him with the original classic run and bring them together in these kind of really complex ways. Some of them being a little too complicated. Chris Chibnall, he wanted to basically ignore most of what came before him and just go straight back to the classic era without much thought or reverence to, okay, maybe some reverence to Russell T Davies because they're good friends, but definitely took the attitude of not liking Stephen Moffat's stuff so much. And as a result, what Chris Chibnall did was basically nearly destroy the future of Doctor Who with one single episode. Didn't he write Broadchurch? That's Who Are You 1? Yes, he did. So he created Broadchurch. It's a very popular adult series. I think it's like... Okay, so Gorilla Joe 71 saying no reference to classic era either. I thought you said reference. Reference. That's different. Reverence and reference is different. Now, I feel Chris Chibnall, and he did say this a lot too, Chris Chibnall did feel he had a lot of reverence to his Doctor Who plot, but I feel he has a very... I don't know. I think maybe he's in his own head a little too much. But either way, Chris Chibnall did direct Broadchurch. He did showrun Broadchurch. It's supposed to be really good of what I'm hearing. But I feel the BBC got him mostly because at the time people were getting sick and tired of... Yes, that's why I'm here too. Apparently he got sick and tired of the Stephen Moffat era, and as a result, the BBC wanted to really shake things up, really wanted to change because Doctor Who was definitely on a dwindling path with Peter Capaldi era, which has since... Okay, so Peter Capaldi's an actor. He played the 12th Doctor, if you're wondering. But things were starting to dwindle with viewerships, and things were starting to fall apart with Doctor Who there. So the BBC wanted to shake things up, wanted to really get the attention, specifically because of a show called Stranger Things with its high quality of visuals, and it's really good storytelling. It basically did change a lot of how we see TV today. So the BBC decided, because of Broadchurch, that to get a hold of Chris Chibnall to oversee this run of Doctor Who. Things were divisive with season 11 in particular, and even season 12, it was starting to get viewers back. Season 12 was starting to get people interested again, and then the finale, basically, that's where I said the finale nearly destroyed Doctor Who's future. Because there's a twist, and for those who haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to spoil it, and I would really highly advise to the chat, if you have seen it, please don't spoil it, because I do want to give viewers a chance who haven't seen the show yet. I would give them a chance to see what it's like for themselves, because it's my opinion, and it sounds like a lot of others have their opinions too, mostly opinions that are shared with mine, but I just want to give people a chance to check out something that maybe they think is good, maybe they think is interesting. I personally don't like it, but then again, I love a lot of things that people don't. Hence why I haven't talked too much about Star Wars. But anyways, that said, getting back to it, so one thing is season 12 ended on such a drastic note that caused half of the entire audience to leave, that action needed to be taken. And as a result, what was supposed to be a 5-year run for Chris Chibnall or, well, not really 5-year, but more 5-season run for Chris Chibnall that would go all the way up to Series 15, wound up getting cut short. He wound up only getting to do one last season and a few specials just to quickly wrap things up, and then he was out. He was out of there. And as a result, things weren't going so well for BBC either, because that amount of viewers lost really did not help. So as a result, the BBC had to cave in, and they gave the rights to Doctor Who to Russell T Davies, the first showrunner. They asked if he was interested. He said yes. And now he's not only the showrunner, but he is now in full creative control of Doctor Who. That's where we get to now. So he's on the verge of the last... Sorry about that. He's on the verge to the last special of 60th Anthology run. And what he has already said is he is looking at basically restarting Doctor Who, more or less. Some themes will still continue, some continuity will still be there, but it is going to be a whole new theme. He has already confirmed that instead of Series 14, we will be getting a new Season 1, which leads us to the third era. This is the future. The third era will begin on Disney Plus next year with a new Season 1, although it technically already is going to start this Christmas with the first Christmas special in 6 years. So, that said, there's a basic recap of what happened. I will go ahead and say, before we get into this, so I'm going to be ranking all of the seasons with all the specials. I'm going to do them separate. I'm going to do Seasons 1 and then specials next. And then I'll get to my big announcement. But, first off, I just wanted to go ahead and say that, adding on to the Doctor Who theme that I briefly mentioned only once, but, so the idea with Doctor Who is that, for those of you who don't know, is that there never is a permanent actor as the Doctor. The Doctor always changes actors. They found this little plot device called a regeneration effect because back in 1966, the original Doctor, William Hartnell, was getting way too old, and he was not doing well health-wise. So the studio tried to find a way to continue Doctor Who, and as a result, they found another actor, Patrick Troughton, who would become the second Doctor. Hartnell was really good. Yes, he had a very kind personality with his Doctor. Just very, could be a little grumpy at times, but still a really good Doctor. However, my favorite out of these classic Doctors is the second Doctor, his follow-up, Patrick Troughton, because he had such a fun way. The second Doctor has such a fun way of basically going into the spirit of adventure, just doing whatever the heck, just for the heck of it. And yeah, he obviously had he had a very different approach to Doctor Who. He had a more slightly comedical yet very mature take on the Doctor at the same time. But his run didn't last long. His run actually moved over to the third Doctor, then the fourth Doctor being Tom Baker. I want to go and mention that because Tom Baker is known as the most legendary Doctor of the classic era. He certainly holds the record for not only having the longest run of Doctor Who, having ran as the Doctor from 1974 all the way to 1981, so that's nearly an entire decade that he was a Doctor. But also, he is also the longest living Doctor Who actor, period. I mean, he is the longest living actor to portray a Doctor. He's like in his 80s now, and it is so hard to believe he is still alive. But, anyways, that said, so then after that, that was Then there's the smaller, lesser-known Doctors. One of them wound up getting a bit of a following years later with a particular episode that's legendary, and that's Peter Davison, the next Doctor after Tom Baker. He had a quieter approach to things, and as a result, people weren't really on board for his Doctor at first, but then Earthshock came out, and that sort of changed everything. Because, well, spoiler alert here, I won't say who, but a companion dies. Like, permanently dies. So, that said, that episode wound up getting the Fifth Doctor a massive following, and as a result, he is well-known now. He is now a well-known Doctor. Then you get to the Sixth Doctor. The Sixth Doctor, which I feel bad for. The actor had good intentions. Colin Baker, that's the Sixth Doctor. He really, really loved Doctor Who. He has a clear passion. I just saw some clips to his return as the Sixth Doctor and a sort of spin-off thing for an anniversary. And you can tell he's got a real heart for portraying a Doctor. The problem is he was basically going up to he was part of a showrunner who, I kid you not, literally hated Doctor Who. This was a showrunner at the time, so this is mid-1980s, and the showrunner absolutely hated the idea of Doctor Who and wanted to get the show canceled as much as possible. And as a result, things didn't go so well. The Sixth Doctor is looked at as one of the most infamous eras of Doctor Who. It only lasted like 2 years, plus an additional episode in 1984. And then Colin Baker was literally kicked out. Literally, like, he was fired before his Doctor could regenerate, which is when the Doctor changes actors. So they wound up getting Sylvester McCoy, who, as Gorilla Joe mentioned, he's the Seventh Doctor, and he's an even sadder case because he's one that people actually don't think about that much. Obviously, you've got Doctor Who fanatics who they're the ones who know absolutely everything or know just about as much as everything, but to a common audience, the Seventh Doctor just wound up getting forgotten. Same with same with Eighth Doctor, Paul McGann, who only just got the one film, and then thankfully was able to return for a little short to explain his regeneration in 2013. That was literally it. And then you get that time period where there's no Doctor Who at all. And then Russell T Davies comes in with a Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston. So this is where Modern Era begins. We begin Modern Era with Christopher Eccleston. Unfortunately, things do not go so well between Christopher Eccleston and the studio in particular. I think he's on pretty good terms with Russell T Davies, though, but for a long time, he was not in good terms with BBC. I think they mistreated him, and as a result, he just wanted to leave as quick as possible. So, as a result, he only got one season. He only got the first season, and that was it. And then he regenerated into the second most famous Doctor, which weirdly enough, is the Doctor we are still currently on, which is David Tennant. David Tennant became a massive fan favorite. Everyone absolutely loved him when he came out. He had 3 seasons plus a whole collection of specials that came out between Christmas 2005 and New Year's 2010. He basically stayed on board with Russell T Davies for the rest of Russell T Davies' first run. Now he's back, of course, but only for these few weeks, and then he's got to regenerate immediately this weekend, actually. But more on that later. Then after that, with Stephen Moffat comes the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, who obviously I get this stylish look from. He was the one to have the bow tie and suspenders. He lasted from 2010 to 2013. He was my favorite Doctor of the modern ones, and he's got a massive fan base too. Then after that, then you get to Peter Capaldi, whom, similar to Peter Davison, has gotten a massive following in recent years. During his run, Peter Capaldi wasn't... It's not that he wasn't well hated, it's just... I think people were just a little burnt out of Doctor Who at the time. Which was a tragedy because, particularly in his latter 2 seasons, and we'll get to that with ranking, Peter Capaldi just was absolutely excellent as the 12th Doctor. His episodes... once again, later 2 seasons in particular were really great. He did not have a good start, though. He did not start off on a good note. But for those who stuck around, they got rewarded with his follow-up seasons, which were incredible. So, that said, in 2017, people were wondering who would the next Doctor be. And to give an idea immediately, as if to give an idea of what Chris Chibnall's era was going to be like immediately, he already started off by making the most divisive move for at least at the time for Doctor Who, which was casting which is so weird. It's like, I'm more open to this. I was a lot more open to this. I don't mind. It's an interesting creative direction. And Stephen Moffat already had built up to it. But he got a woman to play Doctor Who in 2017 with Jodie Whittaker. Now, this is sad. Jodie Whittaker is looked at in a similar light as Colin Baker. You can tell that Jodie Whittaker's really trying, but she got stuck in an era that people have grown to hate. Now, of course, so to surprise things even more, last year, she regenerated... Yeah, I'll agree there, Double Meets Co. She tried her best with what she got. Yeah, I will agree. It was not Jodie Whittaker's fault. I'll have to admit, the visuals were really good too with the era. It's just, they needed someone who could write better stories. They needed someone who could actually keep Chris Chibnall under control. Because I feel Chris Chibnall may have been a little too passionate, I guess. I don't know. Chris Chibnall's like one of those weird fanboys who thinks only of his personal canon and doesn't even think about, like, what's going on in general with Doctor Who. Now, there are some episodes that are really good. But, yeah, overall, the last season, actually wasn't bad. The last season wasn't bad. But anyways, more on that. Okay. Basically, just to finish things up, Jodie Whittaker regenerates back into David Tennant instead of... So this is where things get interesting. David Tennant's return was a twist because Russell T Davies had already announced earlier in 2022 on who the next Doctor would be, and that was... Now, this is a hard name to type, but it's even harder to pronounce. But an actor named Ncuti Gatwa, who would be the next Doctor. However, he didn't say which number of Doctor he would be playing. People guessed it'd be the 14th Doctor, and then wound up getting the biggest surprise of their lives when Jodie Whittaker regenerates into the 14th Doctor, who wound up being David Tennant again, instead of Ncuti Gatwa. And then that was when it was established and confirmed that Ncuti Gatwa was going to be the 15th Doctor. Is going to be the 15th Doctor, because we're going to be seeing him soon this Christmas. He'll be the one to kick off this third era. Now, on that note, with these eras, let's go ahead and get to ranking. So I feel we've been able to establish this era, a basic recap of this era well enough, somewhat of what went behind the scenes. So, let's take a look. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with ranking the seasons. And that said, so we have got 14 seasons. One of them, I'm not good at adding numbers with my hands. So, one of them being a 60th anniversary anthology, which once again I am counting as a season because it's all linear, because all 3 episodes are releasing at the same, not at the same time, weekly. They're releasing on a weekly basis, just like a regular season. They're also connected. So, there are 14 seasons, but one of them... there's one I forgot, which was Season 7. So technically there's 15 I'm going to be ranking, because Season 7 was split into 2 parts. Half of it came out in 2012, and the other half came out in 2013. So I've got 15 seasons to rank. So, that said, here we go. So right off the bat, bottom of the list. Yeah, even I can't defend this one. Okay, so first off, hold on before we get into this. So, Character 429, I'm not counting the David Tennant specials from 2009 because those are standalone. They each came out in different periods of time in that year. Those actually don't count. I'm counting them as regular specials. The same thing happened with Jodie Whittaker in 2022. She got 3 individual specials. Same case, David Tennant got 4 individual specials. So those don't count. I'm counting, once again, I'm counting the 60th anniversary ones because they are linear, they are interconnected, and they are being released weekly as though it was another season. So I've got 15 to rank here because Season 7 was split into 2 parts. So here we go. So in last place at number 15, Season 12. Boy, what a disappointment. Oh my gosh, boy, what a disappointment. Which is sad, because it actually started out, at least the first 2 episodes, were actually really good. And then episode 3 came out, which single-handedly was one of the worst Doctor Who episodes I have ever seen, period. I did not like that episode at all. But then Season 12 continued on a pretty good note. Some of his standalone episodes were a little more mediocre, but the interconnected story was actually really interesting. I thought they were actually going somewhere. Episodes 8 and 9, some of my favorites. I absolutely love those 2 episodes, and It looked as though things were really building up well. The storyline was getting more interesting. And then the last episode dropped the ball hard. I just remember there was a certain point in the episode where I just went, what the heck was that? Okay, so Character 429 saying season 12 was just trash. I wouldn't agree with that. There were some good moments. There were some really good episodes in there. The Haunting of Villa Diodati and Ascension of a Cyberman, as well as the two-parter called Spyfall. I thought those were really good. Fugitive of a Judoon I thought was really good. I'd say the 7th episode, Can You Hear Me, was a bit underrated. And then even Nikola Tesla's Eye of Terror was okay at best. The problem is it got stained with Orphan 55 and The Timeless Children, which those two, oh my gosh. Those two really stained this season. Now then, so that's at the bottom. That's at number 15. So number 14, so this is where I was talking about where viewership for Doctor Who was starting to dwindle towards the latter half of Stephen Moffat's era, because, like I said, so number 14, like I said, started off really wrong. Number 14, season 8. Now, season 8 has a bit of the opposite problem to season 12. Standalone episodes were great. Loved some of the standalone episodes. But the overarching story was atrocious. No, so actually, interestingly enough, Character 429, I'm going to say I have a bit of a soft spot for season 11. I do feel season 11 was trying, I will get to that later. I do feel season 11 was at least trying something new. It was being a little more experimental. Oh, who are you ones? So got a good point. So I will add, okay, so here, since we're already going with the rankings right now, I will add a list, my list of the seasons once I'm done ranking them. So that way I'll give you enough time to read them off. You're very welcome. So, anyways, so number 14 is season 8 because the overarching story was awful. I do not know who on earth thought it was a good idea to have Doctor Who connect to the afterlife. That was a stupid decision. Which is sad because there are some really good episodes in there. Mummy on the Orient Express, Robot of Sherwood. Let's see, Into the Dalek, stuff like that. Those are really good episodes, but, that finale, Death in Heaven was an absolute mess. Anyway, so moving on. So season 8, that's why I thought season 8 was a little better than season 12. That's why I put it at number 14, because you can still have a fun time at least seeing the standalone episodes. You can just see them on their own, and you don't have any problem with them. Next up, number 13. Let's see what we got here. So number 13. Okay, I really love this Doctor. This is my favorite Doctor, but season 6 was a bit of a mess. That was not a good season. I mean, it's okay. It certainly got some interesting storylines. It does have one of my favorite episodes in there. Two of my favorites, just one for the absolutely wrong reason. But I will say the two standouts from this season are my absolute favorite episode of the 11th, probably of the 11th Doctor period, which is The Doctor's Wife. It was written by Neil Gaiman, And already that writing quality shows. It is so interesting, it's so fascinating, and it is so well done. I absolutely love that episode. That said, the other episode, Let's Kill Hitler, is so bad. It is so bad. I actually love it because it is just so gosh darn awful. It is like, what the heck were they even thinking with that episode? Just shoving, have an episode literally called Let's Kill Hitler, and Stephen Moffat makes the weird decision to go, okay, we're gonna have an episode called Let's Kill Hitler. So what do we do with Hitler? We just put him in a closet and for one single funny moment and then have absolutely nothing to do with Hitler at all. Okay, so Terrical429 saying he can't even remember a finale. I think that's the biggest problem. I will agree with that. The finale's pretty forgettable. The Wedding of River Song has some interesting points, but it feels like it should have been a two-parter. It feels like everything was just scrunched into one episode that sped way too fast. And the other thing was, so another thing I didn't like about this season as much is its overarching story was too obvious. The Doctor's going to die. This is going to be his permanent death. It's over. No, it's not. He's never going to die. We all know Doctor Who is too big. We know Doctor's never going to die, okay? Just shut up with that. That was the biggest frustration I had with season 6. There are also some episodes that just aren't really that good. The good episodes are few and far in between for sure. But that said, I still think it's not that bad. It's certainly not as bad as the former two, the other two, season 8 or season 12. So, let's see. So what have we got next? Okay, I'm just looking here. So next up, so now we're in the territory of this season's okay. I think we're out of the bad ones, so let's go with the okay ones. And right off the bat, I'm gonna go with, and this is gonna probably tick some people off, but here we go. Season 3. I think season 3 is a fine season. It's not, so before you get angry at me, let me say there are some really strong episodes in this. Gridlock, Human Nature and the Family of Blood, and Blink. So excellent. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love these episodes. Some of my favorites at Tennant era. That said, you've also got Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks. You've got the absolutely weird and ridiculous twists that you get in The Sound of Drums and Last Time Lords. You've also got episodes that are just basically pretty forgettable, like The Lazarus Experiment 42. Who even remembers those episodes? Who are you once saying that you got a David Tennant bias? That's fair. I will give season 3 this. Its two leads are absolutely really good. David Tennant's still strong as ever, and Martha Jones is actually really good. She's a much better companion than Rose Tyler, I feel, especially with David Tennant's Doctor. Well, obviously, we'll get more into Rose Tyler later as I get into talk about season 2, but we are not at that point. I feel the biggest problem with this season is the story is weird. The overarching story is weird, and even worse, it's actually pretty darn forgettable. Once again, awesome standout moments. There are some absolutely amazing standouts. Really love it. Oh yes, I also forgot to mention. There's also, so this is just going to show that how forgettable season 3 is. Yeah, there's that weird episode with Shakespeare, which I was not a fan of. I did not like that episode as much. So, So that's my thoughts on season 3. That's and remember, we're not in the so bad it's actually pretty awful area episode. Sorry, I'm going off of Gorilla Joe's comment. We're not in the zone of this is bad. That was seasons 12 through 6. Seasons 12 through 6 that was not really that good. I didn't really like those seasons. This is starting the okay zone, where it's like, okay, there's some weird stuff in this, but there's also some really good stuff in this too, and this is the start to that. So, next up. So what's next? Let's go ahead and get this over with. I know people are not going to like me for this, but once again, I am just full of very strong opinions that other people don't like. But here we go. Here's the big ol' I do not care. These are my thoughts here. I actually thought this was pretty good. That said, it's kind of dated. So, okay, so this is a weird one to me. There are some genuinely good episodes. The visuals alone are incredible. I absolutely love, so episodes stand out to me, personally to me, are, I love The Ghost Monument. I love Demons of the Punjab. I love Kerblam. And I actually have a bit of a soft spot for It Takes You Away because its twist is so ridiculous. I kind of like it. It's so outlandish, so out there. It feels like it came straight out of an M. Night Shyamalan film. And I kind of like it for that. That said, there were some episodes that were not that good either. For starters, so first off, I will mention Rosa is an interesting case. So you've got some interesting cases such as Rosa and The Witchfinders, where you see where they're going. They've got good potential, but there's something off about them. Something's just not right. Where I feel those two episodes they could have taken some more time with. The biggest issue I have with season 11 is there are 3 episodes I have some big issues with. The first episode, the last episode, and then the one smack in the middle, which was those are not really that good. They were okay at best. Mainly the first episode, but yeah. Arachnids in the UK, I liked it at first. When I first saw it, I thought it was pretty good. I saw it again years later and was like, oh, shoot, I think I see where people are coming from now. Except for Rave Scene. I will still defend that. That was a pretty funny twist. Okay, so let's move on before people get even more mad at me. So let's move on to the next one. So, here's what we got so far. First off, just a reminder, here's what we got so far. Number 15 is season 12. Number 14 is season 8. Number 13 is season 3. No, sorry, season 6. Ugh. See, who are you one? You've got a good point. I'll make sure that there's a list. Number 13 is season 6. Number 12 is season 3. Number 11 is season 11. Now on to number 10. We have got part 1 to season 7. I actually thought there were some pretty good episodes in there. Now, that said, there isn't really too much to talk about with Season 7 Part 1 because there are only 5 episodes. But the first half I thought was pretty good. I love the bond that the 11th Doctor and Amy and Rory have. I think they're a really good trio. And speaking of trios, there was a absolutely solid trio of episodes with Asylum of the Daleks, A Town Called Mercy, and The Angels Take Manhattan. No matter how ridiculous the Statue of Liberty Weeping Angel is, I still think that's a solid episode. Unfortunately, and the reason why I have this so low is because you've also got 2 episodes that are not good. That just are like, why? Dinosaurs on a Spaceship and The Power of Free. Interesting ideas, poor execution. They were not good at all, and I find it very ironic and also a little foreshadowing that Chris Chibnall wrote those 2 episodes. So that is something very interesting there. Anyways, so yeah, but once again, I feel the good outweigh the bad with this one, similar to Season 11 and Season 3 for that matter. I do feel Season 3 is sort of in that middle ground where you've got just enough good stuff, but you've also got just enough bad stuff as well. Similar to this, I feel there's a lot more good with this than bad. So now we're in the top 10. So, number 9. Let me just look here. I have a list with me, so that way it helps remind me of what seasons there are. So, number 9, I am going to say Series 2. I have a bit of a soft spot for Series 2, mostly because I love the first David Tennant episodes I ever saw, which were Rise of Cybermen and The Age of Steel. I have a very soft spot for those 2. That said, once again, pretty solid first half, save 1 episode, which ironically enough happens to be the first episode. It starts off poorly with one of the second worst Doctor Who episode I could have ever experienced with New Earth. And then all of a sudden, it just jumps straight into, oh my gosh, this is so incredible. Which are Tooth and Claw, School Reunion, The Girl in the Fireplace, and both Rise of Cybermen and Age of Steel. And then you get to more mediocre episodes, such as The Idiot's Lantern, Love and Monsters, and Fear Her. I did forget to mention, so you get those free. Okay. So, to recap all of Season 2, basically, to put it all in a nutshell, Season 2 is all over the place with quality. It starts off so bad, and yet there is a very solid run of 5 episodes, and yet there's a mediocre episode that comes in, and then you get another very strong 2-parter with The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit, which, gosh darn it, are so freaky but are so darn good. Then you get more mediocre episodes yet again with Love and Monsters and Fear Her, where it's so darn forgettable. It's just like, wait, those were a thing, right? And then finally you get an absolutely incredible, total fan servicey, but it's fan servicey so much I love it, 2-part finale with Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. Once again, it is so all over the place. The biggest frustration I feel, though, is with Rose Tyler. She was not good in this season. I actually thought she was pretty good in the last season, the first season, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, at this point, the biggest problem is they kind of turn Rose Tyler into one of those CW-level love interests that it gets annoying. And it's like, please just get her out of here already, which they do. So that's good. But anyways, so this was a season that was so all over the place, yet I have a soft spot for just some of the best episodes in there. Then, so that's at number 9. Number 8. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, number 8, I'm going to say Flux. This was Chris Chibnall's semi-redemption. This was where the BBC finally went, okay, Chris Chibnall, you went too far with season 12. We're going to be watching you this time and see what you do. He only got 6 episodes, which this consists of. They even gave it a separate title, just calling it Flux. And yet, I feel this is the best Jodie Whittaker season yet. This has a very strong story. It basically is. There are no filler episodes. All 6 episodes interconnect together, which is a little bit my problem with Flux as well. So one minor issue I do have with Flux is that it feels a little rushed at times. It does feel like we're going way too fast here with some episodes, but other episodes, it's like, okay, you're actually getting good again. You're actually getting interesting. I feel sad about this season because very similar to another British-run franchise, you get a second part that is so awful with its twists that it basically turns people off from giving its counterpart, the third one, an actual decent chance, because the third one actually winds up being the best out of a trilogy. So, I absolutely love Flux. I really enjoyed it. Once again, it's a little too rushed, and I feel it was cut too short. I actually feel it could have been 2 episodes longer, but with what they got, I kind of like it. So number 7. Okay, this is where we get to the hard stuff. I'm going to start off right there. Once again, a lot of you probably aren't going to like this, but I've got some points on this. I've got a few reasons. Number 7. I'm going to give you a moment here just to see how you react to this. Number 7, Season 1. The one that started all for the modern era. Once again, I have a soft spot for this. There are some really solid episodes in here, and it's a really great start. That said, though, it's pretty awkward at times. It's visually awkward to look at, and there are some episodes that are weird. Basically weird. There are some weird decisions in them where it's like, why did we need this? Why did we need farting aliens? Seriously? There's some pretty forgettable episodes in this as well. The End of a World is one of them where it's like, oh yeah, that happened. But hold on. Okay, before you get angry at me, let me just say, we're in the top 10 here. There's some episodes I absolutely love out of this. I love the first episode, Rose. Strong start. Very strong start. Absolutely love Dalek. One of my favorite episodes in there. I really love the finale. I thought they did a really excellent job. I even really liked I really liked the iconic hold on. Shoot. I'm forgetting this just as I literally said iconic. But you've also got the ever so iconic Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, which I absolutely love. Now, that said, you've also got episodes like Boomtown. You've also got episodes like, so Boomtown, there's one very good joke in there. Besides that, what was even the point of that episode? You've got episodes that are so forgettable, I have forgotten what even were the plots. Such as The End of a World or The Long Game. I have completely forgotten those two episodes. Now, okay, I will say I'm not blinded by Matt Smith era, more of... wow. Basically, more of... okay, so... I will say Who Are You One does have a certain point. This is coming from a bit of a bias, but not for the bias you think. Yes, I totally love Matt Smith's run, but that said, the biggest bias I have with this season is it's been a long time. I haven't gotten a chance to revisit the whole season. I've only rewatched certain episodes. And that's where a lot of this is coming from. I have not seen most of these episodes, like The End of a World, Unquiet Dead, Father's Day. I haven't seen those in 10 years. Nearly 10 years. I forgot. I thought we were in 2024 for a moment. But I will agree. So, once again, we're in the top 10 list now. And there's some really solid stuff in the first season. I do like it, but I do feel that there's some awkward jumps that they needed to make. That they did wind up making. They made some jumps in quality a few seasons later. We'll get to that. I actually will agree Who Are You One. I think I should try and revisit those episodes. So I may wind up changing the ranking after I've revisited season 1, because once again, it has been so long since I have last seen it. But that said, I do genuinely like it overall. I do think it is a pretty good season. It's just got some weak spots. And that's why it's at number 7 for now. So moving on. So number 6, I am going to say, okay, this is probably not going to help with your argument here. This is not going to help in my defense, especially with what you're just saying. Okay, here we go. Number 6, I'd say season 5. I think it's a strong season. It does, similar to season 1 though, it does have some weak spots. So just to prove to you if I am not blinded by Matt Smith era stuff, there are some episodes I genuinely do not like from this season. The biggest one that comes straight to my mind is Cold Blood. I really do not like that one. That said though, the good totally outweighs the bad. I do feel it's a very intriguing setup. I do love their episodes I absolutely love in this, such as Vincent and the Doctor, The Lodger, let's see, The Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone, The 11th Hour, all solid episodes. Even The Beast Below has become a very underrated episode. And same with Victory of the Daleks, I do feel is cheesy, but is cheesy goodness. But yeah, like I said, it's not perfect, and that's why it's at number 6. It's not perfect because it's definitely got a few missteps for sure. I actually was thinking about it. Nah, I'll keep it. Okay, anyways. But I feel overall, it is a very strong and solid start to Steven Moffat's era, and it's got some very interesting ideas and some episodes I absolutely love with a Doctor that is easily my favorite Doctor. Now this is it. We are on to the top 5. These are, in my opinion, the best Doctor Who seasons out there with the modern era. So starting off at number 5, so far anyways, the 60th anniversary anthology. This is solid. absolutely solid. Nice return to form from Russell T Davies. Some moments, which is why it's at number 5. There's some moments that we certainly could have done without, particularly in the first episode. But my gosh, the last episode, the one that just came out, was so good. I absolutely loved it. Who are you one saying let's hope they don't ruin it? I will agree, and that's why I'm saying and emphasizing right now. Because the final episode to this has not come out yet. So, I mean, I've got my fingers crossed here. Fingers crossed, please. I'm just hoping that this is a good finale here. I'm hoping that this is a strong finale. I mean, Russell T Davies has only steered us wrong with a finale once, which was season 3. Besides that, that's something I will say out of all of Russell T Davies' seasons, save for season 3, they have all had strong, incredibly strong finales. So hopefully, my hope is, same goes with this. They better do this one right. Anyways, so that's number 5. There wasn't really that much to talk about because, well, I mean, we aren't done with this yet. Not yet. We will by the end of this week. But anyways, so that's number 5. Number 5 is 60th. So number 4. What gets to be number 4? I would say number 4 is Series 9. Why? Okay, so first off, right off the bat, massive improvement from the last season. Series 9 is absolutely incredible, and I just love it. It is really good. It's got some very strong episodes. It has one of the best episodes of the entire modern era. And this isn't just me saying it. This is so many other people who I've seen it saying it. The one episode being called Heaven Sent, which unfortunately is sandwiched between 2 okay episodes. But is a solid season. I was so impressed when I saw this because I was coming off of season 8 and it was like, oh no, I really hope they're not going in too bad of a direction. Then I see season 9, it's like, oh shoot, this is actually really good. This is really, really good. One of my favorite seasons. It does have its weak moments, so it's not... Once again, it's number 4, not number 1 or number 2. It's got some weak moments. The one single episode, the one episode that isn't a 2-parter or a 3-parter in the case of finale, it's best just to skip that one immediately. And once again, it's very interesting because this was one that really was changing a lot of Doctor Who's formula. So this was a season that, with one not so good exception, only consisted of multi-part episodes. And once again, really strong stories there. You've got some really strong ideas going on. There's some episodes that are so darn incredible. Absolutely love it. Once again, few weak moments, but you know what? Not too bad. Not too bad there, and especially given what was following up, yeah, this was really good. Number 3, Series 7 Part 2. I love this. I personally love this. This seems to be a bit of an underrated season because apparently people don't like this as much, and that really baffles me. I love the overarching story. I don't feel there is a bad episode in this. The worst that it has come to is okay at best, which is the Reigns of Akhenaten, of course. I thought that one was okay. Besides that, I didn't have a problem with any of the episodes. It's a very short half, not as short as part 1, but I still feel it's really good. Still feel it's really solid. Some of my favorite episodes are in this. I love Nightmare in Silver. Love Journey into the Center of a TARDIS. Love the overarching story with Clara Oswald. It's even got a really good finale and a really solid first episode. Cold War, that's another good one. Hyde, love that one too. Wow, it seems I am alone on these opinions. It seems I'm absolutely alone on these thoughts, but it could be worse. I could be defending season 12 here, or season 8, okay? Okay? Are you at least happy with the fact that I'm not playing seasons 12 or 8 on this high on the list? Okay, maybe not those. Those are a little too. Those are. No, I don't think anyone puts those 2 seasons. Okay, let me rephrase that. How about season 11, okay? Season 11. I'm not putting season 11 in this spot, okay? How's that? Is that an improvement? Clearly, I have my own thoughts and opinions, so let's move on next. So, number 2, and this is definitely coming from a soft spot for me because I love this. This was first season I caught when it was coming out, when the episodes were coming out. Number 2, season 10. I think this is the best season Steven Moffat has given us. Period. It's got a solid story. You can watch it without having seen any of the previous seasons. It's got a so much of a strong, just the cast, the main leads, so strong. And similar to season 7, part 2. I think the worst that this season comes to is okay. There's one episode that I thought was okay. Okay, let me rephrase that. 2 episodes. Two episodes I thought were okay. Besides that, everything else, it's like, I love this. I love this episode. And yeah, I just think this is an incredible way to finish off Steven Moffat's run. It's solid. I don't care what any of you say. I personally love it. Heavily would recommend it. And more than that, and yes, it is coming from a bit of a bias, but it came out at a time where I really needed that kind of a season. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. But it is still on number 2. This is the number 2 spot. So what's number 1? Well, number 1 is a season that even I have to agree with everyone else here. The best season to the modern era of Doctor Who is... I'm just kidding. I'm totally just kidding. I just want to see how you'd react. No, that's the worst. No. I just want to see how you'd react. No. Okay. Just kidding there. Just kidding. No. It's this. Season 4. This is the best season of the modern era, period. Even I cannot disagree with that. It seems top number 1 on everyone's lists. I am in total agreement there. And similar to that, once again, so even season 10 had 2 episodes that I thought was okay at best. This season only has 1 episode that I thought was okay at best. Everything else in this entire season was so incredible, so well done. Russell T Davies was absolutely having a blast with this season. David Tennant and Catherine Tate are absolutely incredible. There is a reason that they wound up coming back 15 years later. Because this season absolutely rocks. Everything is good about this. There is just, the visuals for Russell T Davies, this is where they really started getting better. With the stories are so incredible. They are so, I'm sorry, I love this season a lot. I know I'm more of a Matt Smith guy, but I cannot deny that this was the best season of Doctor Who of the entire modern run. So that said, there's that. Now then, so I am going to add on a chat box and just type things up here. Let's see, let's move this over here. And where is it? All right, so let's see, how do I, oh, whoops. I added the wrong one. There we go. There we go. All right. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. So I am going to show you the full ranking, the full list here. Just in a moment. Let me type these up. But in the meantime, once again, these are just my thoughts. These are just my opinions here. And I will admit, I haven't seen season 1 in a long time. So there's some bias in terms of that. I just have forgotten a lot of season 1, so I'll check it out here. I'll probably check it out again probably next year, since next year's gonna mark 10 years since I last saw it, since I got introduced to Modern Run. But anyways, so here we go. I'm just gonna type some things up, and you can go ahead and, just type, just say what are, so for those of you who have seen some episodes or seasons, what have been your favorite seasons? I'll just let the chat have some fun while I'm typing this up here. Yeah, that is interesting, Oreo One. I think that would be nice if they gave Jodie Whittaker another chance. Okay, so that actually is an interesting fact there, Oreo One. So Christopher Eccleston technically did come back, just more for audio dramas though. But it's possible. It's possible he might come back for something. Because recently the actor has warmed back up to a possibility of being replaying a Ninth Doctor. So who knows? Hard to say. That's right. Interesting. Let's see, so... Interesting. So Gorilla Joe 71 is saying season 1 is his favorite. Interesting. All right. Now then, let's make sure that... All right, let's see. Just making sure. All right. Now then, I'm going to go ahead and show my list here. And here we go. Oh, whoops. I may need to... Whoa, I may need to have to scale down here. Let's see. That way I can see with nav chat. Okay. Let's see. Can you see... so chat, can you see what I'm seeing here with list? Because to me it's looking a bit messy. Let's see, maybe just scale down a little bit more. Whoa, that's a little too much there. There we go. Okay, there we go. I think I got it. All right, here we go. So just to recap, number 15 is season 12. Number 14 is season 8. Number 13 is season 6. Number 12 is season 3. Number 11 is season 11. Number 10 is season 7, part 1. Number 9 is season 2. Number 8 is Flux. Number 7 is season 1. Number 6, season 5. Number 5 is 60th Anthology. Number 4, season 9. Number 3, season 7, part 2. Number 2 is season 10, and number 1 is season 4. So there's that. All right. Now obviously seasons aren't the only thing to have come out of Doctor Who during this modern era. We have had an insane amount of holiday specials and just specials for other occasions as well come out. So I'm just going to very quickly, because this is long enough, but I'm just going to very quickly go over all of the specials and my personal ranking for all of them. So, and hopefully maybe this will redeem myself to some of you guys, because the last one here, the one at the absolute bottom, yeah, okay. Here we go. So, first off, let me just make sure that I'm counting right here. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. It actually just hit me. Hold on. There's an easier way for me to count. Let's see. All right, there are 22 specials. All right, so let's go. Let's go by really fast. So, number 22. The Doctor of Widow in the Wardrobe. Starts out good enough, but... oh, gosh darn it, it's so awful. Number 21, Planet of the Dead. A pretty flat episode that boasts some good visuals, but It just winds up being so embarrassing and forgettable at the same time. Number 20. Let's see here. Hold on. So, okay, so first off, these specials, I actually don't know, well, with one exception, which was The Daughter of a Widow in the Wardrobe, most of them are actually pretty darn good. So, let's see here. So, number 20, I will have to say, is The Next Doctor. It is weird. It's weird, and it goes a little too far. Good concept, though. Good concepts, and I love the visual styles. Also, David, let's see. He does like David Morrissey, something like that. Anyways, very famous British guy. He's really good. Okay, next up. So now we are at top 19. So number 19. Last Christmas. Very funny take on Santa Claus, but very weird story overall. I didn't get into this one as much, but it's okay at best. Number 18, Eve of the Daleks. It's alright. It's alright. It's really forgettable, and it just kind of feels like Chris Chibnall it just feels like Chris Chibnall just doing the rounds, just doing Daleks. Daleks are here. Is what else were you expecting? Let's see. So, we're at number 19. No, number 18. Number 18, The Return of Dr. Mysterio. Now, note, I actually had a fun time with this episode. The reason why I put this one so low is because it does not feel like a Christmas special at all. It just feels like a regular episode. That said, though, it is a lot of fun. Let's see, number 17. Oh, I am going to get lots. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, never mind. Number 17, The Runaway Bride. Love the Doctor and Donna's chemistry that they have in that episode. Love that they subvert some expectations of the Doctor Who tropes. Absolutely atrocious main villain with Arachnos. Is so embarrassing. Number 16. Oh boy, I am going to get a lot of flack for this one, aren't I? Number 16, The End of Time Part 1. Very, very slow and kind of grating at times, but still a very interesting concept, and at least I'm giving it points for trying. That was number 17, right? Yes, that was number 17. Number 16 is going to go to, let's see, number 16, Legend of the Sea Devils. It's pretty fun. It's also really forgettable and really short, too. Similar to Flux, I feel this one actually could have benefited from being longer. But still, had a lot of fun with it. Number 15 would be, hold on here. Sorry, I've got this is an insane list of specials here. Number 15. I'd say Revolution of the Daleks. I'd say this was really good. Had some interesting stuff going on. At the same time, though, given the premise that we got promised, I actually feel it would have benefited from being one of the rare specials that was not about the Doctor. That actually had, so the premise to this, just really quick, the premise to this promised that the Doctor actually was not going to be in this, was barely gonna be in this, and it would focus on the companions. And that's what we got in half of it. But yeah, I do feel there's a wimpy choice to go, oh, but we need the Doctor in this. Still, though, really good. Let's see. Love the new Dalek designs for sure. Even though they do basically look like the Dalek equivalent to the Dark Troopers that are seen in The Mandalorian. Okay, so next up, what is next? Okay, we're on number 16, right? No, number 15. So we are at the top 15 here. So, number 15. I personally feel I'm sorry, I like to keep my mouth clean. There's the name right there if you want to read it, but this isn't a bad special. I personally like this one. It's pretty forgettable at the same time, though, and I think the biggest frustration is the companions. Who even was a companion again? I forgot. Also, a villain was kind of an embarrassing knockoff of Davros. Besides that, though, interesting concepts. David Tennant clearly has a blast with this. Number 14. Let's see. What would be at number 14, shall we? Let's see. Number 14. Resolutions. Resolution. Never mind. I personally love this one. With the exception, there's a ridiculous twist at the end. I won't say what it is, but there's sort of a ridiculous way the villain goes, and it's like, ugh. But besides that, it is a solid New Year's special. I think people just give it a lot of flack for one thing. It was a weird decision by Chris Chibnall to cancel the Christmas specials and instead have New Year's specials, that was a weird concept. Either way, though, I still love this. I still think this is pretty solid. Moving on, number 14. We're on number 14. And at number 14, I would have to say, yes, number 14. Speaking of New Year's specials, the one that started it all, technically, The End of Time Part 2. It's a lot better than Part 1. Definitely feels a lot stronger, but the Master, everyone turning into the Master is very funny for one scene, and then just gets really gets on your nerves very quick. Besides that, though, pretty solid. Regeneration is really emotional. Okay, let's see. So we are at number 13 here. Number 13, Power of a Doctor. I feel this is one of the better regeneration episodes for sure. The problem is, it's not one that I really think about that much. I don't think about the episode that much, but it is really solid. It's actually, that was actually one where even massive haters of Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker had to admit, okay, she did go out with a bang. That was pretty darn cool. That said, there's some weird stuff in it, which, makes sense for the context, but still. All right. Next up, so that was number 13. Number 12. Okay, this is going to be hard, not just for you guys, but for me as well, because these next 12, I just love all of them so much. But so it's really just which one did this better? Which one? So, this is so hard, because even I'm going, I don't know, man, I don't know. So, okay. Number 12, Time of a Doctor. Solid finale. Regeneration's a little too fast, though, I feel. I feel this one could have easily been better as a two-parter. Number 11. Let's see. Come on. Are we really? Okay, this is just showing how strong these next 11 are. Number 11. First half is a little ridiculous, but gosh darn it, is so heartwarming and so hysterical at times. It really is one of the best to come out of Capaldi's era. So now we are at the top 10. Number 10. And this is going to surprise you guys about, but once again, man, this was so hard. But number 10. The reason why I put this at number 10 is mostly because they failed to resolve one storyline in this. There was one very big storyline that they failed to resolve. They just it was just like, okay, we gotta move on to this. You guys, this story's done now. This story's done now. On the other hand, though, it does get great payoff in a later season. But as it is, with that exception, absolutely love this. I had a total blast. It was so good to see all three of these doctors appear at the same time. And once again, we're at the top 10 now. So, number 9. Let's see, number 9. Really fun. Awesome start to the Christmas tradition. That said, similar to season 1, I have not seen this in a long time, so if I'm a little biased, I may need to rewatch this again. But I do remember absolutely loving this. Once again, remember, these aren't like, these 10 aren't in the terms of, oh, I didn't like this. Oh, I love this though. This is like, okay, I love all of these. It's so hard. It is just so hard. So yeah, that's number 9. Number 8. Let's see here. Once again, so hard. Okay. Number 8. A Christmas Carol. Effects are a little iffy at times, but absolutely solid. One of my favorites. Wait, we're at number 8. Yes. Number 7. Let's see. Number 7. Oh, wow. I covered all the David Tennant episodes. Okay. Wow. We're really starting to run out of. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Sure was. That's so weird. I think. Oh, wait. No, hold on. Number 7. There's one last David Tennant special I forgot. This. Really love this. Move on. Number 6. Wait. I'm starting to wonder if I may have miscounted here, because I've already covered so many of these. Let's see. Number 6. Do I even have 6 left? I think I may have accidentally went by this a little too fast without thinking. Okay, so let's see. I've got. Okay, so I already covered that. Oh, number 14 twice. Okay. Oh, shoot. That does. Okay. Sorry, there are so many of these holiday specials that it'd be easy to lose count. Let's see. So, just pretend everything. Oh, shoot. I've forgotten what. Okay. Wow. Yes, Caracol 429. I am very glad we're getting Christmas specials back as well. So wait, hold on. Okay. So I'd say going off of Who Are You Ones, assumption, I'm probably going to say I'm on number 6 at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and make things easier. So, or maybe I'm, no, wait. Yeah, I think I'm at number 6. Let's see. How many do I have left? Oh. Interesting. Oh, I think I miscounted. Sure. Let me look here. Okay. Huh. I think I really did miscount there. Because I only see Freve I haven't covered yet. Well, basically, I'm just going to go off of, these are my top favorites, so, oh, number 4, okay, number 4, that one makes sense. I think I'm on number 4, so I'm sorry I'm sorry, my mind's bits, but I'm trying to make it through, because we still got a bit to talk about, but, let's see. So, oh. I think there are only 2 left. Oh, shoot. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna throw up these top 2 and these last 2 left I haven't covered, and then I'm just gonna do another text box with a full list. So that way, yeah. So love this, absolutely love it, really incredible. And then last but not least, the best regeneration episode we have gotten of a Doctor, period, in my opinion, at least in modern era, Twice Upon a Time. Absolutely love it. Really, and maybe it's because I have a soft spot. It came out at a time I really needed it. Okay. I'm gonna take a moment here while I add on the text. Just gotta add on the list here, and then hang on. I'm just okay, just see. Okay, that works, but I just want to test out. Okay, there you go. Let's see. Okay, so 22. Here we go. I may have forgotten some of my ranking here, so this may not be exactly what I said earlier. I may have changed things up a bit, but I'm just trying my best here. I mean, this is pretty exhausting. Okay. Okay. You know what? This is probably too much here. This is gonna take me too long to type. Once again, I was not expecting. All right. Yeah. I'll just go ahead. Okay. So, special announcement. So, all right. So, special announcement is this is my last live stream. After several weeks, and as you could tell by my more exhausting, how exhausted I can get, I have decided that this is my last. There's, I had a lot of fun with this. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed all of these past live streams, but I can only go so far with so many topics. And, boy, it's been really challenging. A lot of these have been really challenging. A lot of these have certainly taxed out my mind. I'm already feeling exhausted just from this alone. Thank you. Thank you, who are you one, for saying your knowledge of Doctor was amazing. No, it is. It is. It's taken me a long time. It's taken me nearly 10 years, but it's great. And, you know, it's really inspired me a lot. There was a time where I wanted to make content like that. There was a time where, this show alone has inspired so much of my ideas. Because I have a lot of creative ideas in my head, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to make. And I have begun to realize and recognize that maybe, as fun as this has been, that maybe it's time to try something new. Time to test something out, something different out. Maybe it's time to make my own content now. I mean, think about it. Think about it. YouTubers now are actually making stuff now. They are actually making, like, the fan films. They're making short films. They're making feature-length films now. Some of them are. And when I look back at all these live streams, if there is one thing that I have learned so much off of all of these, it is that I can do this. I can release this because I can make this, because I gotta be honest here. I have been too much of a perfectionist, you could say, where I have had so many ideas just go off in my head, or I type up scripts and I don't do anything with them because I just keep imagining, like, this has got to be like this. And I'm so focused on that. I've literally got a YouTube channel. Up until now, I've barely done anything with it because at the time, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to make with what I had. But now I do. Now I am starting to realize that I can do this. I can make something my own. I can make, like, a fan film. I can make something I love. And I think when it comes to doing these live streams, comes to doing these live streams, I've had a lot of fun, but I have also found myself really stressed out. And I've begun to realize I think when it comes to making stuff, when it comes to making content, I would rather see what I write or what I imagine on screen instead of me. I go for a lot of self-criticism, but I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. So with that said, this is it. My final live stream. I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you all so much for being there. Even when it comes to Gorilla Joe just wanting his monies. And thank you so much. It's been really nice. And hey, you know what? I've got something exciting too. I've got something exciting, which is... Yes, you're very welcome. Yes, thank you so much. But you know what? This is nothing. This is... So my experience with this has led me to realize, you know what? I should just stop overthinking on things and stop being reliant on what this should look like, on what something should look like. So with that said, I'm officially announcing I'm going to be making more content on YouTube. I'm going to be making more fun stuff. I've been taking a look at there's some weird stuff on YouTube that I have come to really enjoy. Some of them are so weird they're kind of masterpieces in a sense. There are so many ideas going through my head that I just want to see come out. There's so much stuff I love. And it couldn't, to be honest, none of us could have, I could have never thought about any of us without having gone through this. Without having gone through this live streaming experience, because this has taught me that it doesn't have to look perfect. It doesn't have to be exactly what I picture. I can make something. I can make content. I don't know, Gorilla Joe. We'll talk about the monies. But that said, I've had a lot of fun. It has been incredible getting a chance to do this. It's been stressful, but it has been so nice. And that said, it's time to close up shop and look into the future for the next chapter. See you then. And the last thing I will say here is, I will go ahead, I'll give you, I am working on something. I am working on a sort of, not a film project necessarily, but well, you'll see. You'll see. But I have a feeling you guys are going to love it. Anyways, it has been fun. It has been an honor. Time to close up shop. And take care, all of you. Goodbye.